welcome to Murphy's Garden, and you join me today in my own garden, but the plan for this week's video and indeed the day is to head to another garden, a garden that I haven't been to, I'm not familiar with yet, but it's one of the RHS gardens. For those of you outside of the UK, the RHS stands for the Royal Horticultural Society, and they have 5 gardens located throughout the UK, and this one is in Salford near Manchester, and it's our nearest one, but one that, as I say, we haven't been to yet. It only opened in 2021, so it's still quite a new garden, and I like that because it's nice to go and see a garden that's only been planted in the last 2 years, and it makes us realise that we can achieve the same results in a very short space of time. So I think we can get lots of ideas. I'll take you up to the top borders because I'm really pleased with these borders. They're doing well. I use these borders primarily a lot of picking flowers. So there's lots of kind of perhaps more smaller, daintier flowers, but the borders up the top, I find that sometimes things get a bit lost in them, and you'll see when you look at them what I mean. So I've done the same kind of planting style here as I've done down there, but it's just not working on this scale because these are big borders. So what I'm finding, I've got kind of itty bitty planting and it's not impactful enough. So I've been thinking long and hard. Last year wasn't great either, and I wasn't sure if it was the weather, but I'm keen now this year to take everything out in the autumn and rejig things around and try and put in bigger blocks of planting and perhaps more kind of prairie-like planting. So we'll go to RHS Bridgewater and see if we can get any ideas to inspire us for doing something with these borders in the autumn. So I hope you'll join us and we'll see you there. And we've got a lovely picnic and it's a beautiful day, so what could be better? RHS Garden Bridgewater is located on the site of the estate of Worsley New Hall. The hall was demolished in the 1940s, but in its heyday it was a notable residence featuring extensive formal gardens. It was built between 1840 and 1845 for Francis Egerton, 1st Earl of Ellesmere in Shropshire, and it was a grand Gothic-style mansion. The grounds were equally grand and were landscaped by landscape designer William Andrews Nescliffe, who was a very sought-after designer at the time. The grounds were developed over a 50-year period with an 11-acre walled garden, woodlands, croquet lawn, tennis courts, formal terrace gardens complete with fountains. The house hosted many royal visitors, including Queen Victoria in 1851, and during the First World War it became a British Red Cross hospital. During the Second World War, the house and ground were requisitioned by the War Office and used as training grounds for the Lancashire Fusiliers. With the departure of the Egerton family, the house and ground slowly fell into disrepair. With dry rot and a fire in 1943, this grand building was demolished by a scrap merchant who bought it for £2,500. In the intervening years, the site has been used as a garden centre, a scout camp and a rifle range. In 2015, the RHS saw the opportunity to create the 5th RHS garden on the site and to restore and build upon the garden's history and heritage, and to make a garden that would benefit the large and diverse population of the Salford area and beyond. This is the first garden that the RHS has developed from scratch in more than 100 years, and with it came the opportunity to rethink how to create a garden for the 21st century. And we have arrived at RHS Bridgewater, and it's absolutely beautiful from what I've seen so far. We've only just arrived and there looks to be lots to see, so really excited. And starting off with this tree, which is just by the entrance as you come out of the entrance, and I wasn't familiar with this tree. It's called a Zelkova serrata, and it's a beautiful multi-stem variety and it looks stunning, so that's worth investigating further. The garden is a total of 154 acres and the cost of the project was 32.7 million, but it is very much seen as an investment in the future, and the garden aims to involve the local and wider community. The garden will provide employment and learning opportunities both in apprenticeships and for local school children to learn and experience the benefits of green spaces. The RHS has forged partnerships with healthcare providers who can refer patients to Bridgewater for horticultural therapy, benefiting both mental and physical health in the community. It is estimated that the garden will add £13.8 million to the local economy by 2029. This garden is very much about involving the community and providing social, economic and health benefits while enhancing the local environment for everyone. The daunting task of designing this huge garden fell to the renowned garden designer Tom Stuart-Smith. We saw the first glimpse of his plans for this site at his Chelsea show garden in 2019. The Worsley Welcome Garden is comprised of 31 clipped beech trees resembling beehives. The planting is made up of drifts of grasses and herbaceous perennials, and the formal lawns are dotted with yew domes giving strong architectural form. Large metal arches frame the views of the garden and act like portals into the garden beyond. They make a very striking feature. So here are some hot borders, and you can see the crocosmia looking lovely with some heleniums, and it's nice to see the Verbena bonariensis growing here in a nice clump, and I think that's what I need to do, is take out the ones that are sort of self-seeding everywhere and keep it in a nice big clump. It looks good like that, and I love the way they've done these sculptures with just bits of driftwood. Looks really lovely. Good idea. Look at these heleniums, they're lovely. And we've got some Achillea and Salvia amistad. It's lovely. So just spotted this is a very lovely example of a Catalpa erubescens purpurea. It looks absolutely stunning, and I didn't think to put something like this in a herbaceous border, but just quickly reading about it, it says you can keep it small by coppicing it regularly, so you can keep it at this height, and if you do keep it coppiced, then the leaves will turn this lovely purpley chocolatey colour. So that would be absolutely fabulous in our borders. And in fact, the depth of this border, in fact ours might even be a little bit deeper, but with the beech hedge at the background, it's exactly like our borders back home, and they love full sun as well, and a sheltered site, which ours would be. So just continuing down these hot borders, and they've got masses of heleniums, and my heleniums at home, I just need more of them, more impact. So this very architectural plant is called a Poluino tomentosa, or a foxglove tree. Very architectural.
And this here is solidago, and we've got some of it in our own garden, and I haven't really seen it much this year, but last year we used it lots for flower arranging, and it was really invaluable.
Yeah, I love these. I love it with frontal border here with these heleniums. It looks really good together, really nice contrast. And here we've got the lovely Catinus, which looks good. The purple undertones bring out the sort of purple in the flower head of the helenium, so that's a nice combination. And here is some Persicaria. Just want to point out these structures. So they've made these structures, and then they're using them as for things, climbers to grow over them. I think they're really lovely and inexpensive idea that we could perhaps use at home. And see how well trained my daughter is. From a young age, as a toddler, she was taught to snap off the spent flowers on the hemerocallis, and look, she just can't help but do it. She does it naturally. There is just so much to see. It's difficult to know what to look at first, but I think we'll head first into the Weston wall garden, which is 11 acres and is one of the largest wall gardens in the UK. The garden is divided by a central wall, which divides the garden into two halves. One half is made up of a contemporary paradise garden, again designed by Tom Stuart-Smith. This garden cleverly blends Mediterranean and Asiatic styles and features plants from all over the world. So we'll go and have a wander around and explore. Oh, this is all yellows.
Well,
oh, look at
those. Look.
Lovely.
Looks like ribbons.
What's this?
Look at the petals on those.
Lovely, what are they? Gravel has been added as a mulch to the beds on the east side of this garden to help replicate the soils of the Mediterranean. This not only impoverishes the soil and adds to drainage, it also helps to create more arid and ambient heat. These borders feature plants that have adapted to dry climates, including lots of grasses. These are all silvery colours and yellow palettes. And look at it, we did the video on grasses, and look at this grass, it's just all curly and lovely. Look. And this looks like some sort of pennisetum with a furry flower head, but how they look so beautiful. Not sure what this is. This It's ouch, prickly, ouch. Some sort of.
But I love that colour.
Looks lovely, really lovely.
Thylictrum, that's a really lovely
nice
colour.
Thylictrum. Yeah, it's gorgeous. With this strand here. Yeah, it doesn't say, does it say what this grass is anyway? Oh, it's Nepeta, it's a type of Nepeta. Wine big blue. It's nice.
I like it when it's that small. What's it called again?
It's sea holly, it's Eryngium.
Eryngium.
So this is a very sort of dry garden, isn't it? With the eryngiums and things that do well in drought and the phofia. I just want to find out what this grass is called. I love it.
That's a nice Nephofia. I like it when it goes from orange to coloured. I'm not so keen on the red
bright,
and the
bright
orange ones.
Oh look, you won't know what this is?
Oh, yeah.
The one we got at John Lord's garden. It's called Cupid's Dart.
That's nice, that little yellow flower too. I know what that is.
And it's lovely because it's naturally sort of dry, isn't it? It just sort of grows kind of dried, so it makes beautiful dried arrangements. Yeah, this is all very dry garden territory. And the little drumstick alliums, salvias. Oh look, it's got water up the middle, that's nice. Oh look.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh my gosh.
Oh look at this, water.
That's really nice.
Oh, she's in swimming. Look, you can go in swimming. Oh wow. You want to go in, Liv?
You can actually go in.
Yes. I might change my mind if we how cold it is. Oh, well that's lovely. Oh. Oh, that's really cold. Another idea. What about, we're going to do a rill up the middle of our top borders, and it would be lovely to have just a narrow rill, but perhaps instead of putting pond liner in it, if we tiled it like they've done here, then we could paddle in it in the summer, and that's so lovely. It's just so refreshing and so invigorating. Alistair's shaking his head behind the camera. Can't you build me one of these? So I'm thinking that this would be lovely in our garden to paddle in when I'm hot and getting hot gardening in the borders. I can plunge my feet in here and cool off. And if anyone wants to throw any money in, that would be a bonus. So this is the life, isn't it? Water adds so much to a garden. Well, perfect day we got, didn't we?
I know.
Oh, isn't this
We go
massive?
in?
It's
We
just
go?
so big. I don't know which way to go because there's so many different routes around. And what a beautiful greenhouse. They've got these lovely blinds. It's keeping it quite cool actually in here.
Look at this succulent over here.
Oh, look at this. Livy spotted this
Flat one.
flat topped aeonium.
Is that bougainvillea?
What's that?
Bougainvillea.
Oh yeah.
The ones they have on holiday.
Fruit. What have we got here? Tomatoes and chilies and basil.
Are they?
Oh, look at this! Isn't this beautiful?
Oh, look, there are
Look at this!
peaches.
Look, micro cherry tomatoes.
Look, there are peaches over there. Look.
Peaches. Oh,
It's just a fan, yeah, that's all.
oh, fun. Oh, isn't this lovely? All these chilies. Josh would like to see all these.
I'll try a few.
Look at that's a nice tomato, stripy one.
Very nicely grown. big area, it's a huge area. Look at these grapes. Oh, look at that, it's a big bunch. So I love the fastigiate beech, that looks really good and provides lots of height. And then if we swing round here, look at this, a little pleached square of, I'm not sure what that is it hornbeam, not quite sure, with water. So that rill feeds into that pond, I believe, the pond we've just been at. And the planting is just exquisite, really, really lovely. Oh gosh, there's just so much to see, it's stunning. Yeah, look, that's nice, isn't it? Interesting to see that this is Parrotia Persica, which is Persian ironwood, which has been pleached, and the colours just look lovely. Just zoom in on the leaves. We've got some that are green and some that are red. And I've never seen these pleached before, but that looks really good. So as we sit here on these lovely comfortable seats, we can just sort of extrapolate some of the design features that they've done. So this is a big, large expanse of area. It's a very, very big walled garden, but to create the feeling of intimacy, they've used the Parrotia Persica in this square format, just to define this area and make it a little zone in itself. And you can cleverly see how they've used this kind of cream stone for the pond, and they've used this buff colour repeated again in the flooring. So we've got this crushed loose stone, and then by using the Parrotia Persica trees, we've got the purpley pink and green colours which is being reflected in the planting around about. So we've got the, I don't know if that's geranium Roseanne, is it? Oh no, geranium Orion. And lots of greens and purples which are repeated again and again, euphorbia there, and just the colour palette is repeated again and again, and yeah, it just gives this cohesiveness. And you can see here that the trees are planted directly into the gravel, so they'll get all the moisture that they need. And again, they've used the stone in a square format just around the edge of the area underneath the trees, again just to create a zone and a feeling of intimacy within the bigger, wider garden. And this lovely is Thylictrum Eileen. It's a very tall one, it looks really good. Just zoom in on the plant label. It's a AGM awarded plant. Just spotted this plant which we've never seen before, Hydrangea palmata. Look at the lovely shaped leaf on that. And we were just remarking on the skill of the planting combination. So we'd never think to do this, just plant, this is all yellow. So we've got the Hemerocallis euphorbia, and just a little splash of the sanguisorba at the back there. And interesting to see that they've used some shrubs and things. So here we've got a deutzia mixed in with epimediums, and just colour contrast, and not so much colour contrast, this is all green, but contrasting leaf form. So here we've got some hostas with the Haconocloa, and as I said, interesting to see the Haconocloa doing really well in this very dry, sunny part of the border. A Daphne with the little berries on it, so that would look lovely for winter interest, because they want this to look good all seasons. And miscanthus there as well, so really lovely. In that border over there we see these kind of white spire-like flowers, and I wasn't sure what they are, but they are just here. So they're called Actacia simplex, Pritchard's giant, or baneberry. So they've got these nice pointy finger-like spire-like flowers. This is sanguisorba. I like this plant, it's lovely. So this lovely pretty little house, I think you can come and have a drink here, but look at this. I mean, the gardening here, this is proper gardening, I must say. Really, really good. There's not a weed in sight. Everything's looking perfect. You've got this Achillea with a monarda, lovely red monarda. This is lovely. I think this is called Sedulcia. It's some sort of mallow, and we bought one of these when we went to visit the Toth Garden Centre. John Lord, the YouTuber John Lord's garden centre, and I haven't seen it out. I must go and look for it when I get home. So look at the grass, it's just perfect. I suppose it was all new turf last year or the year before, wasn't it? And this is how you do wildflowers on a big scale. Isn't that lovely? It's just so huge. I can't believe how big it is, and also I can't believe how much they've managed to do in the time that they've had. Quite incredible. And this is just at the far end of the wall garden and a more natural area. This is the orchard, and they've got just wild grass left to grow long with mowing paths going through, and contrasting with this very, very well maintained lawn over there, and a yew hedge going around that. So we'll head back again into the more formal areas, but this is lovely. And underneath this mature holly tree, just sometimes simple ideas are the best. So underneath the holly, they've just used some birch logs and they've put them on their side and just circled the tree, and then they've been able to then mulch the whole area and then just edge the area with these iron hoops, which just look nice and neat and tidy and make it look good. The holly's obviously suckering a little bit, so they just need to be cut out, but just a nice way of dealing with an awkward sort of under area under a tree. And here is an Irish yew, Taxus spigata and fastigiate, and you can just make out this cord, and initially I thought it was maybe they'll put lights on it, but what it is with yew, they can sometimes, particularly as they get mature, they can splay out, so they're using that just to pull and tie the tree in, which I can show you on our much smaller trees at home, which we've done since they were new. So it's always quite a good idea just to do that, just to maintain the shape. And here we have an example of some large bottomless pots, and they look like the ones we did, but before our treatment. I'm really glad we treated ours. Alistair's just checking out if they are bottomless.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not? No, they're not bottomless. Oh, look at this. This is all hydrangeas. So Hydrangea paniculata, Big Ben, Big Chine. What else? Paniculata, Magical Handle. All hydrangea. Oh, this is nice. Hydrangea paniculata, Magical Flame. The Magical series. Look at this one. Oh, they're trials. Yeah, they're doing trials. Oh, yes, so they are. Oh, right. So they're doing trials, a bit like they do at Worsley. So the RHS is renowned for it. They trial lots of plants, and here at Bridgewater they're doing a trial of Hydrangea paniculata. So these are just comparing some of the existing RHS awarded AGM plants with some new ones, just to see whether there's any improvements and whether AGM should be removed from some and given to some newer varieties. So you can see there are lots and lots in this selection. So there's 42 varieties that are being trialled, and these are some of the ones that we'll probably all be growing in the future. I really like this one. This is Hydrangea paniculata Dolprim. Look at that. It's very white and looks quite vigorous, and they seem to grow 3 of each kind of variety. This is Pinky Winky, which I have heard of. Frem, Skyfail, Garnet, the red stems. So here's just a few, but oh, this is nice. Early Harry. So lots to look at, and as I say, these may be ones that we'll all be growing in our gardens in the future, in a few years to come. Interesting to see how they're growing them. So they've got these metal edges on here, and obviously all of them have to be grown in the same conditions to compare like with like. You see a few casualties perhaps in the middle that have died. but you can also see that the substance that they're covering their borders with is strolch. That's the fabric, the substance that we've used in the parterre. I did a video on it a year or so ago, so if you're interested in looking at this product, strolch is what it's called. You can look it up, I did do a video. But lovely to see all these lovely red stemmed hydrangeas. There's some lovely ones. That's a nice one. This is called Living Infinity, Living Creation series. So there's different series. These are all the Living Creation series. So yeah, interesting to see. And for those of you growing cut flowers, I think this is a wonderful idea. Look how they're growing these hydrangea. It'd be really good to use metal edging like this to have raised borders, and then to plant your cut flowers all in a row with irrigation running in the row as well, and then covering it in strolch. So we've used strolch in our parterre and it's fantastic at suppressing weeds. So this looks to me like a really good idea. So out of all the Hydrangea paniculata that we've been looking at, we have selected our favourite from the trial, and we like this Hydrangea paniculata Living Infinity, Living Creation series number 30. Look at it's got the red stems, it's got the lovely flowers, and it looks so healthy and so strong. So that's our favourite, perhaps followed by this one, which is also the Living Creation series, and this one's called Raspberry Pink. Oh, actually, we also like this one, another one. Shall we give this second place, I think, after the other one? And this is Hydrangea paniculata Lena, number 41 in the trial. Look at this, and all three are just the same, very healthy. So it just says that here is the lovely brick built building. It's the old farmyard, and it says this is an historically significant part of the working wall garden, and the large brick building is the bothy. It was built around the late 1890s, and it has this large stone chimney attached which had the engine room, and that's much older. But look at the lovely architecture on that chimney. It was designed by Edward Blore, who also designed Buckingham Palace. And it just says that the coal-powered boiler in the engine room provided heating that was piped underground and into gaps between the bricks of the walled garden. And this cutting-edge engineering, along with a glut of fuel in the form of coal, was used by the Duke of Bridgewater to grow tender exotics in the greenhouse and the vineyard all year round. And this is the chute for the coal to power the boiler. Oh gosh, there's more hydrangea there. I think we better move on, otherwise we'll be here looking at hydrangeas all day long. So edit what I've just said. Actually, here are more Hydrangea paniculata, and it goes up to number 85. So 85 different varieties of Hydrangea paniculata that they're trialling. So how would you ever choose the best one out of all of these lovely plants? I'm glad it's not me who has to make that decision. And here we've got some trials of climbing French beans. So there are 19 different varieties, and the judging criteria are yield, colour, shape and uniformity of pod. So I think their supports are a little bit better than mine. So we've finally emerged from the Weston walled garden, and to be honest, we've spent most of the day in there, and there's just still so much more to see that we haven't even got to. And you can see from this signpost more of the places to go that we just haven't had time today. There's Ellesmere Lake, there's a Chinese garden, a streamside garden, so lots more to see. And even today there is a sweet pea festival or something. I think that starts tomorrow, but there's loads to do, so I think we will definitely have to come back again soon. And I'd also like to see what the planting looks like at different times of the year. And this is lovely. If you've got just a field or something that's just a bit uninteresting, just let it go wild in areas, plant some trees and then just mow paths through the grass, and it looks lovely, really nice. At a glance I thought these were beech, but they're not, copper beech, but they're not. I think they're also the Parrotia Persica that we saw pleached elsewhere in the garden. Does it have a plant label, Liv? Oh, crossed out.
It's been
Planting guide on
I just love these yew balls. They look really, really lovely. And we haven't even been over there, have we? I just wanted to show you these borders. So these borders, as you come out of the visitor centre here, you've got these lovely big borders and so well planted. And bear in mind, all of these plants have only been in 2-3 years maximum. Got veronicastrum at the back there, Hylotelephium, Matrona, which I've got that one. And this is these lilies, Iconocloa, Melina, grass, lilies, more lilies, and I think that's that Thylictrum, Astrantia, very well stocked, lovely borders. I wonder what they look like at other times of the year, so it's nice to come back again and again and so look at these, aren't they lovely? And contrasted, the flower head was contrasted with the veronicastrum at the back with the very pointy fingers. Lovely. And some heleniums, and that's the eupatorium. Absolutely lovely, and look at the how everything is so well maintained. This is the yew. And these borders, as you say, you don't really always walk right up close to these borders, but from a distance, from here, they're really striking. So they've got, what have we got, Al? We've got grasses, Thylictrum blackstocking, that's a lovely one with this black stem. I'll just show you that one. It's a nice one, the flower head's gone over. But using a lot of the veronicastrum. And sanguisorba, and another Thylictrum. We've got a white one like that, that's nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, but it's Edith.
And interesting to see, this is Melina cerulea, as we learned it was pronounced in the last video. And this is the one I've got growing in the butterfly borders. I did the video on our different types of grasses, and ours doesn't really look like much. It doesn't look as good as this, whether it's the variety. This is called Edith Dudsus. Just zoom in on the, but it's lovely. And remember, we learnt that cerulea meant blue, and you can see here that the seed head has got this purpley blue undertones to it. So we're learning, putting into practice what we've learned from last week. Gosh, and you could just get lost in there. There's so much to see. This is Persicaria, and this is a lovely geranium. Yeah, veronicastrum.
How many bees are on it?
Bees love it. Yeah, look at that. It's nice with the veronicastrum. Contrasting to the veronicastrum is Regersea. These leaves, big leaves. So this part of the Worsley welcomed garden, in contrast to the long walk, this part is a bit more naturalistic, and it features these abstract mosaic patterns which give the impression of a giraffe's markings when viewed from above, and you can easily get lost in this. It's just like a maze-like landscape. So we're back in the Visitors Centre, and this building was designed by Hodder and Partners and built by BAM Construction, and was designed to complement the Weston wall garden. It's clad in warm larch and flooded with light. The whole edifice offers a bright and airy welcome for visitors, with a beautiful gift shop, garden centre and the Bridgewater cafe, where you can have a refreshing cup of tea and cake or a more substantial lunch. We didn't use the cafe, however, as we brought a picnic, and as it was such a lovely day and it was busy in the cafe, this worked out very well. There are lots and lots of seats and benches and beautiful places to picnic. So we've had a really lovely day at RHS Bridgewater. I strongly recommend coming here. We've barely scratched the surface. We've got so much more to see, so we'll definitely be back. And a lovely day out. We've had a super day. So thanks you very much for watching, and I'll be taking this grass home to my garden and planting it in the borders. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye for now. And we're back home again now, and Olivia has presented me with my birthday cake, which she has made. Isn't that fantastic? This has been the perfect day, and this is literally the icing on the cake.